the question I have is that in Canada, we have a universal healthcare system, all the provinces. So there isn't a doctor around who does not legitimately fear for their livelihood, because if you can't bill in the public health system, there's no such thing as private clinics here. There are to a very limited extent. And so it's regrettable, but I understand it. I understand that why doctors in Canada don't step forward. There are certain types, that certain doctors who have come forward are outspoken, and I represent a few of them who are in the process of being disciplined. In the United States, where you have private clinics, I know the doctors in Utah sued over masking. I would have thought that you'd see a lot more outspoken medical professionals like yourself coming out and criticizing the system more critically, in that their paycheck is not dependent on the government, so all they're doing is facing maybe the wrath of the college. Do you have any insight on? I know you. It's hard to put a percentage on it, but in the United States, what's your perception of how many doctors, what percentage of the doctor population actually is in agreement with the measures, how many are just too afraid for their livelihood, and how many are just dumb as a bag of nails to figure it out? Do you have a sense of where the breakdown comes?
There's really no, survey data that I'm aware of on something like that. But what I suspect is that there are a small group, and I do know several people in healthcare that kind of tell me a bit about what's going on. And it seems like almost no one is really believes everything that's going on. What they do are there people who feel like it's important to follow the rules. And sometimes they make these rules quite arbitrary, it seems. And everyone is mostly like, they're like, whatever, we'll go along with it. But, this is really kind of BS. I think that's kind of the general consensus, but certainly, people are just afraid to make waves and to come out and go public. And the ones that have, even in small degrees, have been, censured.
Yeah. I was on a panel the other day through my Constitutional Rights Center, and the panel was on faith and spirituality. And I heard an acronym that I'd never heard that I'm going to use in court. And one of my guests was talking about fear, and she explained fear as false evidence appearing real. And so it still goes back to fear from where you stand then.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing, and but it's not necessarily just fear of getting sick from a virus. It's also fear of someone else confronting you for not wearing a mask, or
Right.
fear of losing your job if you don't go along with everything, or fear of not being able to travel to see your your parents or your children, and et cetera, et cetera.